Today I'm going to show you how to find more Wonderkids in Football Manager. Having played FM for years, I've gotten pretty good at knowing the best and most secret ways to find Wonderkids. So stay tuned for some of the best tips towards the end of the video. We'll start off with one of the most basic but most effective methods. This literally tells you who's a Wonderkid. It can't get any easier than this. First of all, we're going to head over to the scouting screen here, click on players and then players in range. Because I'm currently scouting the world, I've got virtually every single player in this database available. Depending on your club level, you might only be scouting the continent, country or leagues that you're based in. So this will change how effective this method is. We're going to click on the views tab here, go to custom and then create custom view. Then on this left hand side, scroll down until you find media description. It's about halfway down, click it, press add, press OK. This now adds a column called media description, and you can see exactly what we're looking for right here. Albert Markelov here is described as a Wonderkid. Click the column to sort it alphabetically, then scroll down to the word Wonderkid, and all the Wonderkids are in the exact same place. And as you can see, we've got 24 players in this database described as a Wonderkid. Now there are a couple of caveats towards this. The Wonderkid media description is given to players 21 and under with a certain level of potential ability and a certain level of current ability. The reputation of the player and the club also come into this. So as you can see, most of these players are playing for some pretty decent teams already. We're not finding many at some unknown clubs in Bosnia. As a result, these players are already a little bit more established, so are going to be a little bit more pricey. But there is another media description to look out for. Look for players described as promising. These are players with decent amounts of potential ability, but their current ability is a bit lower and they play for clubs who are less reputable than the Premier League or La Liga teams. Scout these players out and I guarantee you'll find a few diamonds in the rough. Now the next scouting tip is actually based on real life. Now hear me out because this might sound a bit silly, but Football Manager does a fantastic job of replicating players in their game. Suddenly if the world is talking about a star striker from Croatia who's scoring tons of goals, there's a good chance they're going to be pretty good in Football Manager as well. You can try and stay one step ahead of the game by using the sponsors of today's video, OneFootball. They keep stats on thousands of players, and if you look in the right places, you can find some absolute gems in some far-flung leagues that are also absolutely insane in Football Manager. Plus, if you want to do some extra scouting, you can also watch live football on the app for absolutely free from a whole range of leagues, including Serie A. This weekend, it's Lecce versus Sassuolo. You can grab the app for absolutely free from the top line of the description. Next up, we're scouting youth international teams. Places like Brazil and Spain are known to be absolute production lines for Wonderkids, so it makes sense to scout their youth teams to find out who the next big stars are going to be. Pick a country and look at their under 23 or under 21 team. For this example, I'm using Brazil under 23s. If we sort the players by their age, with the youngest players at the top and the oldest players at the bottom, I want to scout out the really young players playing way above their age. For example, there are 3 19-year-olds here playing for Brazil under 23s. If they're that young playing that high above their age category, it must mean they're pretty good, right? So as you can see, I've already done a bit of scouting on some of these players, and one of these 19-year-olds has got 4.5 stars of potential ability according to our scout, and 2 of the 20-year-olds have got 5-star potential. And the best thing is you can do this for every single nation. Just go through, look at their youth teams and find which players are playing way above their age category and scout those few ones out. You might be scouting 100, 200 players potentially if you do like a whole continent, but you'll definitely find some great players. The next method I like to call passive scouting because after you set it up, you do absolutely nothing. Once again, we're heading to the scouting tab, but this time we're going to go to scouting coverage and scouting assignments. This brings up a lovely map of the world showing you exactly where you're scouting, but it also shows you a list of your scouts on the left hand side. If we hover over the little person icon here, you get to look at this staff member's attributes. For this, we want a member of staff with really good judging player potential ability and has got some good knowledge on lots of countries. In this case, my scout Jeffrey has got 20 for judging player potential ability and he knows tons about loads of countries around the world. He's a very overpowered scout. So let's click on his name and then create a focus. Now we know he's an expert in tons of countries, but I want to send him specifically to Brazil and Argentina. So we're going to go on to areas here and choose a nation from South America, choose Brazil. And then we do the exact same again for Argentina, click confirm. Then we're going to set up the ability ranges. Of course, we're looking for fantastic young players for the future, so the minimum potential ability I'm going to set to 5 stars. Now, potentially your scouts might come back and just find no one like this, so don't be afraid to drop this to 4 stars every now and again to get some different results. As for the player's current ability, well, we're looking for young players with high potential, so that means they might not have very good current ability, so setting this to 1 star is probably quite reasonable. Also, remember to change the age as well to 21 at the most. Change the priority to ongoing. This means the scout is just constantly looking for these players until you tell them to stop. But the most important part is to click on the assign scout and make sure you untick assign any scout and actually find the guy that you want to send out. Despite us clicking on his name to set up his scouting assignments, the game doesn't recognise that. So remember to actually assign the scout you want to this recruitment focus. After you've done that, just press confirm and that scout will be out there looking for young players. And then you just leave it. The scout will come back every now and again, recommending some players for you to sign, scout them out further. If they're any good, bring them into the club. Now, if you really like to recruit players early and you want to keep your finger on the pulse, then scouting players out on Regen Day is one of the most effective ways to find some great Wonderkids. Every season, the game generates new players to replace those ones who are retiring. This happens on a specific day every single year. So you can start scouting out on the exact day when these new players come into the game. To find these players, click on the globe icon here, click on world and then transfers. Change this filter to youth intake. This then presents you with an incredibly long list of every single new player in the game. It's absolutely mental. You can actually make that a little bit smaller. If you go to each individual league, such as the Premier League here, go to transfers, click on that, and then go to youth intake on there. It shows you all the youth intakes from that specific division. It's a bit more of a manageable list. But what I would recommend doing is looking for all of the teams who have got some fantastic youth facilities and ability to generate some good players, and on the Regen Day, scout them out. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the exact Regen date for every single nation in the game, else we'd be here all day. But there's plenty of resources if you just Google it to find those exact dates. But typically, all of the European clubs have their Regen days in March. And so rather than going league by league and team by team, there is a more streamlined way to find the very best young players coming through these Regen days. If we head back to this scouting assignment screen, we're going to pick a random scout, and then we're going to create a new focus. This time we're going to look for maybe 4 star of potential ability and 1 star of current ability. We're going to set the maximum age to 16 years old. This basically just means they're looking for the brand new regens. In terms of the area to scout, I'm just going to go for Europe. So our scout's going to do a blanket sweep of Europe looking for the very best players from Youth Intake Day. Set this to ongoing, press confirm, and they're on their way. If you do this in late February, there's a good chance they're going to get through most of the nations throughout all of January to find you those very best regens when they come through on Regen Day. So if you've learned anything from today's video, feel free to subscribe and drop a like on the video so it's pushed out to more people to learn these tips. And let me know down in the comments if there are any scouting methods that I've missed off. But maybe you want to develop your own Wonderkids. And in that case, I have a video that teaches you how to do just that. It's on screen right now for you to watch.